Straight-walled cartridges, man, what's the deal? I'm not from Minnesota originally, so this is all new to me. I've been using a standard AR-10 and 308 for almost a decade to hunt, but here, straight-walled cartridges are the law. So I built a 350 Legend from scratch to figure it out. And honestly, it's got me kind of pumped for my first Midwestern hunting season. All right, folks, this one's going deep into the 350 Legend. Our new deer slayer for straight-walled cartridge states up in the Midwest is right in front of me, and we're gonna get into it. Now, you might think straight walls are just chunky, outdated rounds for shotgun-only zones, but hold up. The 350 Legend's got a modern edge that makes it stand out, and we built a $3,000 rig here to prove it. We've researched the cartridge, tested it out at the range, and we built an entirely new setup that's got me itching for the tree line. Today, we're breaking it all down. What's a straight-walled cartridge, why the 350 Legend beats the competition, this sweet build that we put together, and a couple of quirks you should probably know about. Let's get to it. So, what's a straight-walled cartridge? To put it simply, it's a round with a case that doesn't taper, unlike a standard rifle cartridge. Think 350 Legend, 450 Bushmaster, or 4570. They're a straight pipe. These rounds are designed for power at short to medium ranges, which is perfect for deer in thick concealment like we have here in Minnesota. Compared to standard cartridges like 308 or 223, which neck down for longer ranges, straight-walled rounds are all about the raw energy up close. They ensure humane shots on your game without a risk of errant rounds traveling too far. Picture lining up a shot in the dense Midwest timber. You want a direct punch, not a long-range laser that's gonna overshoot. Some states, they love them for safety. This is because there's often homes and neighborhoods and wooded areas where there's a lot of deer and people wanna hunt. It helps limit the range of the rounds and expands the hunting opportunities in areas that are traditionally only okay for shotguns and muzzleloaders. Other states simply stick to standard rounds for versatility because they're hunting over longer distances on open terrain with long sight lines where the hunter knows what's in the backstop of his target. Straight walls are big power with short range. Just remember that going forward. Why the state-by-state drama? It's a good question. A lot of states in the Midwest are gonna mandate straight-walled cartridges for deer hunting, while others like Texas or Montana can let you run pretty much anything. It's mostly about safety and it's a little bit about tradition as well. Straight-walled cartridges fit the bill because they're powerful enough to make a clean kill, but the short range of the round prevents the possibility of overshooting your target and landing around in someone's garden shed near the woods. At the time of filming this, if you're in Ohio, Michigan, Iowa, Indiana, Illinois, West Virginia, Maryland, Minnesota, or Pennsylvania, you're likely already familiar with straight-walled cartridge laws. If you're from any other state, then this is likely something you don't think about all that often at all. When you guys are getting your hunting license and you're heading out to take some game, just make sure that you personally check on all of the local laws on this subject, and especially do that before you're gonna build a hunting rifle. You wanna know what's legal and what's not. Now, why'd we pick the 350 Legend over, say, the 450 Bushmaster or the 444 model? Let's break it down. The 350 Legend is a relatively new cartridge that's only been on the market since 2019 or so. It's got a killer combo of low recoil, solid terminal performance, and some other practical perks that we're gonna get into a little bit later. It's kind of the sweet spot between an effective, affordable, and super easy to shoot combination, and it's exactly what I wanted when I was building this rifle. The 350 Legend's a bit of a gentle giant. It kicks at 8 to 10 foot-pounds, which is only half of the 450 Bushmaster's 20 plus, yet it's gonna pump out 1,800 foot-pounds of muzzle energy with a 150 grain bullet, enabling human kills on deer-sized game pretty easily. The lower recoil also makes it more accessible to new hunters as well, which is a bonus when you're taking out younger shooters. Bullets like Federal Power Shock Rifle expand wide, leaving clean impacts that bring your game down, and that's specifically why I picked the 350 Legend. Now, I've already had the opportunity to get this one out to the range, and it's a lot like shooting a slightly more powerful 223 round, which means it's more fun to get out to the range and practice with, especially when you're comparing it to some of your larger straight-walled rounds. You can see pretty easily why the 350 Legend is quickly becoming a favorite. Bonus points here for having the same bullet diameter as 9mm. If you reload at home, you can actually use some of your 9mm bullets in a 350 Legend case and get in some light plinking on the cheap. Now, since we're talking about the range, let's talk about the range of the cartridge. It's got you covered there. The 350 Legend's effective to 200 or 250 yards-ish, and in my opinion, it flattens out better than a 450 Bushmaster. And that's perfect for the Midwest woods or field edges where 70 to 150 yards is the norm, even though we all know that Bobby definitely hit that buck at 1.2 miles with his 308 last season. It's not an extreme long range round by any stretch of the imagination, but it's definitely a very solid deer hunting buddy. Getting ammo for these is also a breeze if you're in one of the straight walled states especially. 350 Legend rounds are stocked just about everywhere you can get ammo, and a box of 350 should cost you anywhere between $20 and $50, depending on how high-end you go. That means for you, more practice and less wallet pain. Last, and far from the least important part about the 350 Legend, is that it's a shapeshifter. If you have a standard AR-15, getting a 350 Legend upper is really all you need to do. What that means for you is that you can build a dedicated hunting upper and leave it in your gun safe until the season comes around. Once it's that hallowed first day of the season, pull it out of your safe, take your 5.56 upper off, and then slap your 350 on. It even uses the same bolt carrier group and charging handle system as your standard AR-15, which in my opinion makes this the most accessible straight-walled cartridge on the market today just because of how common AR-15 lowers are. I mean, if you really wanted to build this on the budget, all you realistically need to do is change out your barrel if you already have the tools and skills to do it. The round was specifically designed to work with the standard AR-15 platform and its existing bolt, which honestly you really can't beat because you don't got to buy a whole new rifle. Okay, main event time, our 350 Legend build. Now I set a $3,000 budget for this one because hunting is something that I spend a lot of time doing in the latter half of the year, and I wanted a deer slaying machine that I could be super stoked about. That's also why I paid a bit extra to have Charlie Cerakote this thing for me. Everyone knows Cerakote makes your gun shoot straighter. To start off, the first thing you're gonna notice is that we went with all wood furniture for the rifle. While that might seem like it was purely an aesthetic decision, Woox's Vigilante chassis system does more than make your Bluetooth deer dropping device look super slick. It adds a bit of extra weight to the rifle, which helps dampen the recoil impulse, making this thing feel like you're shooting just a standard 5.56 round, which is absolutely money. Now, let's talk about the AR-15 parts of this build. Like I said earlier, most 350 Legend builds can basically be your AR-15's lower receiver set, and this one is a fairly standard build as well. We went with all AT3 parts for the slick side upper, lower, bolt, carrier group, and the gas tube as well. Now, slick side with no forward assist might be a turnoff for some hunters, but unlike Greg, I clean my rifle on the regular basis, so I'm not too worried about needing to caveman my gun into battery. Now for all the small parts, including the ejection port cover, we went with Timber Creek, and I'm using a Breek sledgehammer for the charging handle just to help mitigate some of the gas blowback that's gonna come from this suppressor when we're shooting. Okay, moving on to the actual 350 Legend parts of this build. For the barrel, we've gone with the Faxon 16-inch. Specifically, it's the 350 Legend AR-15 gunner barrel, and so far I've kept sub-MOA groups with it at 100 yards, which is honestly exactly what I want. I don't need more. For magazines, Duramag here all the way. I don't think I need to expand on this too much. Just make sure that when you're getting your magazines, you keep in mind any state or local laws that might require you to keep your capacity below a certain number based on what you're hunting, and ensure that you're complying with these laws, because the last guy that you want to encounter is a game warden when you've got a magazine with too many rounds in it. For the suppressor, we're running a Huxworks Flow 9K Ti. This can's rated for multi-calibers, which makes it great for 350 Legend, and it also protects my hearing. Now to keep all of this running effectively, I'm running a CMMG zeroed adjustable gas block, and I'm attaching the suppressor to the barrel with the Dead Air Xeno muzzle brake. Last but not least, guys, we gotta talk about the accessories. For the optic, I'm running a second focal plane Vortex Strike Eagle. The one that's on here now is a 1-6, but I'm honestly considering upgrading it to a 1-8 before the season starts. Now, a second focal plane isn't the best if you're shooting long range or hunting somewhere with these huge sight lines like Wyoming or Nebraska, but the purpose of this rifle isn't that. So I was able to save a bit of cash here and have a reticle that stays one consistent size regardless of the zoom level of the optic, and that makes it a bit easier to use for this specific application where I am here in Minnesota, where there's just loads of woodlands everywhere. But that's just like my opinion, dude.
Your opinion, man.
We've got that optic mounted with a Geissele automatic super precision 30mm scope mount because I just had one laying from an abandoned ELR build that I was working on. And to top it all off, I've added an Arca mount here on the bottom rail, which makes it compatible with the tripod that I have for long days in the deer blind. Can't say enough about these Arca mounts, absolutely money. Now, before you go jumping in head first, guys, I'd be a jerk if I didn't tell you about some of the flaws that 350 Legend has too. This is a brand new round that hit the market in 2019, like I said earlier. With that in mind, the round doesn't have a super long legacy backing up, and it's still the new kid on the block. We don't have decades of field data on the round like we would with some of the older cartridges like 4570 or 450 Bushmaster. And I know for some hunters, that is gonna be an immediate turnoff. We want tried and true rounds out in the field with us, but I'm gonna take a chance on the 350 Legend. I haven't had any issues with it yet. Now, on top of the manufacturing line still being solidified to tighten up round consistency, which was a huge issue when the round was first introduced, you also have a more limited selection with muzzle devices and barrels because of how new the round is. It takes time and user demand for factories to spin up manufacturing lines, and that means your favorite manufacturers might not already be producing something specifically for the 350 Legend yet. So just keep that in mind and keep an open mind when you're building something like this. Last, and guys, I can't downplay this, the 350 Legend was designed for the AR platform, but the AR platform was not designed for straight-walled cartridges. While I haven't experienced this yet while taking our rifle out to the range, it is not uncommon for people to report some reliability issues with their 350 Legend builds. Most commonly, I've heard people stating that they've experienced feeding issues caused by insufficient feed ramps and the heavier recoil causing the bolt to cycle too quickly, which can lead to failures to extract and failures to eject. To mitigate any reliability issues with our wireless Deer Flipper Zero, we used an adjustable gas block. For almost every non-556 or 300 blackout build I've put together, that's what I do. I'm tossing on an adjustable gas block so that I can tune the gas flow to ensure the rifle is up and running properly. Now, caveat off of that, in the case of 350 Legend, it's also worth upgrading your buffer system here so that your bolt doesn't cycle too quickly as well. Odinworks, in my opinion, is one of the best systems for this with their heavy adjustable buffers, and that's actually what we're running in this rifle. If you go that route, start with the heaviest buffer you can and then tune the gas block to cycle. In my experience, this is gonna give you the most reliable and the softest shooting option. And since we're specifically focusing on that one perfect shot to take a deer and not on how fast we can split the vitals of the animal, I want to slow down the cycling as much as possible with the adjustable gas block and the buffer tube to ensure that first round goes off when I absolutely need it to. 350 Legend, guys, it is the new kid on the block, but it's quickly making a name for itself in the states where a straight-walled cartridge is a requirement for hunting. This build's got me hyped up for the upcoming deer season, but tell me about your deer rifle down here in the comments section. I honestly want to hear about it. And also, if you're doing a new AR build and you're on a tight budget, check out this video.